those pipelines have to go. Hey, hey, oh no, climate change has got to go. Hey, hey, oh ho, Trudeau's pipelines have to go. Hey, hey, oh ho, climate change has got to go. Hey, hey, oh ho, Trudeau's pipelines have to go. We are unstoppable. A socialist world is possible. We are unstoppable. A socialist world is possible. We are unstoppable. A socialist world is possible. We are unstoppable. A socialist world is possible.
Lots of time.
What do we want? Climate justice. When do we want it? What do we want? When do we want it? What do we want? When do we want it? If we don't get it, shut it down. If we don't get it, what do we want? When do we want it? If we don't get it, what do we do if we don't get it? Yeah. What do we want? When do we want it? What do we want? When do we want it? And if we don't get it, what do we do if we don't get it? Yeah. No more pipelines, no more oil. Keep your carbon in the soil. No more pipelines, no more oil. Keep your carbon in the soil. No more pipelines, no more oil. Keep your carbon in the soil. No more pipelines, no more oil. Keep your carbon in the soil. Hey, hey, ho, ho. Climate change has got to go.
Hey, ho, ho. Climate change has got to go.
Hey, hey, ho, ho. Trudeau's pipelines have to go.
Hey, ho, ho. Trudeau's pipelines have to go.
Hey, hey, ho, ho. Climate change has got to go.
Hey, ho, ho.
Hey, hey, ho, ho. Trudeau's pipelines have to go.
Hey, ho, ho. Trudeau's pipelines have to go.
Hey, hey, ho, ho. Sorry. Hey, hey, ho, ho. Trudeau's pipelines have to go.
Hey, ho, ho. Trudeau's pipelines have to go.
We are unstoppable. A socialist world is possible.
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 Tell me what democracy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like.
Tell me what democracy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like.
Tell me what democracy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like.
Tell me what democracy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like.
Tell me what democracy looks like.
This is what democracy looks like.
Yeah. no power like the power of the people, because the power of the people don't stop. Power of the people, because the power of the people don't stop. There ain't no power like the power of the people, because the power of the people don't stop. Say what?
Ain't no power like the power of the people, because the power of the people don't stop.
Say what? Ain't no power like the power of the people, because the power of the people don't stop. Ain't no power like the power of the people, because the power of the people don't stop.
Ain't no power like the power of the people, because the power of the people don't stop.
Hey, hey, ho, ho. Climate change has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. Trudeau's pipelines have to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. Climate change has got to go.
Climate change has got to go.
Hey, hey, ho, ho. Trudeau's pipelines have to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. Climate change has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. Trudeau's pipelines have to go. When the land we love is under attack, what do we do? Stand up, fight back. When the air we breathe is under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
When the water we drink is under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
When the planet we need is under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
What do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
When the land we love is under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
When the air we breathe is under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
When the water we drink is under attack, what do we do? When the planet we need is under attack, what do we do? What do we do? Yeah! We are unstoppable. A socialist world is possible. 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 There ain't no power like the power of the people, just the power of the people fight back. There ain't no power like the power of the people, just the power of the people fight back. Say what? There ain't no power like the power of the people, just the power of the people fight back. Say what? There ain't no power like the power of the people, just the power of the people fight back. No more pipelines, no more oil. Keep your carbon in the soil. No more pipelines, no more oil. Keep your carbon in the soil. No more pipelines, no more oil. Keep your carbon in the soil. No more pipelines, no more oil. Keep your carbon in the soil. When the land we love is under attack, what do we do? When the air we breathe is under attack, what do we do? When the water we drink is under attack, what do we do? When the planet we need is under attack, what do we do? What do we do? When the land we love is under attack, what do we do? When the air we breathe is under attack, what do we do? When the water we drink is under attack, what do we do? When the planet we need is under attack, what do we do? What do we do? unstoppable. A socialist world is possible.
We are 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 unstoppable. A socialist world is possible. No more pipelines, no more oil. Keep your carbon in the soil. No more pipelines, no more oil. Keep your carbon in the soil. No more pipelines, no more oil. Keep your carbon in the soil. Hey, hey, ho, ho. Climate change has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. Through those pipelines have to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. Climate change has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. Through those pipelines have to go. When the land we love is under attack, what do we do? When the air we breathe is under attack, what do we do? When the water we drink is under attack, what do we do? When the planet we need is under attack, what do we do? What do we want? Climate justice. When do we want it? What do we want? When do we want it? If we don't get it, shut it down. What do we want? When do we want it? What do we want? When do we want it? And if we don't get it, what do we want? When do we want it? And if we don't get it, yeah. Now tell me what democracy looks like. This is what democracy looks like. Tell me what democracy looks like. Tell me what democracy looks like. There ain't no power like the power of the people, because the power of the people fight back. Say what? There ain't no power like the power of the people, because the power of the people fight back. There ain't no power like the power of the people, because the power of the people fight back. There ain't no power like the power of the people, because the power of the people fight back. There ain't no power like the power of the people, because the power of the people fight back. There ain't no power like the power of the people, because the power of the people fight back. There ain't no power like the power of the people, because the power of the people fight back. No more pipelines, no more oil. Keep your carbon in the soil. No more pipelines, no more oil. Keep your carbon in the soil.
No more pipelines, no more oil. Keep your carbon in the soil.
No more pipelines, no more oil. Keep your carbon in the soil.
No more pipelines, no more oil. Keep your carbon in the soil.
No more pipelines, no more oil. Keep your carbon in the soil. We are unstoppable. A socialist world is possible. We are unstoppable. A socialist world is possible.
We are unstoppable.
We are unstoppable. A socialist world is possible.
We are unstoppable. A socialist world is possible.
Are unstoppable. A socialist world is possible.
We are unstoppable. A socialist world is possible.
The land we love is under attack. What do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
When the air we breathe is under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
When the water we drink is under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
When the planet we need is under attack, what do we do? What do we do? What do we do? When the land we love is under attack, what do we do? When the air we breathe is under attack, what do we do? When the water we drink is under attack, what do we do? When the planet we need is under attack, what do we do? What do we do? Yeah. No more pipelines, no more oil. Keep your carbon in the soil. No more pipelines, no more oil. Keep your carbon in the soil.
No more pipeline, no more oil. Keep your
No more pipelines, no more oil. Keep your carbon in the soil.
No more pipeline, no more oil. Keep your pipeline in the soil.
No more pipelines, no more oil. Keep your carbon in the soil. There ain't no power like the power of the people. Just the power of the people fight back. Say what? There ain't no power like the power of the people. Just the power of the people fight back. There ain't no power like the power of the people. Just the power of the people fight back. Say what? There ain't no power like the power of the people. Just the power of the people fight back. Say what? There ain't no power like the power of the people. Because the power of the people fight back. What do we want? Climate justice. When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Climate justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Climate justice.
When do we want it?
Now.
And if we don't get it?
Shut it down.
And if we don't get it? Shut it down. What do we want? When do we want it?
Now.
And if we don't get it? What do we do if we don't get it?
Shut it down.
Yeah. What do we want? When do we want it?
Now.
And if we don't get it? If we don't get it?
That was laundry, right?
You're doing great, everybody. That's bullshit. Get off it. This planet's not for profit. That's bullshit. Get off it. This planet's not for profit.
That's bullshit. Get off it. This planet's not for profit.
That's bullshit. Get off it. This planet's not for profit.
That's bullshit. Get off it. This planet's not for profit.
That's bullshit. Get off it. This planet's not for profit.
That's bullshit. Get off it. This planet's not for profit. Climate devastation.
I love this place.
Climate devastation. Not sold by corporations.
Climate devastation
Get off it.
will not be sold by corporations.
Climate devastation will not be sold by corporations. Bullshit.
Bullshit. Get off it. Climate devastation will not be sold by corporations. Bullshit. Get off it. Climate devastation will not be sold by corporations. Get off it. Climate devastation will not be sold by corporations. Bullshit. Get off it. Climate devastation will not be sold by corporations. Climate devastation will not be sold by corporations. Bullshit. Get off it. Climate devastation will not be sold by corporations. When the land we love is under attack, what do we do? When the air we breathe is under attack, what do we do? When the water we drink is under attack, what do we do? When the planet we eat is under attack, what do we do? What do we do? What do we do? Yeah! Hey, ho, ho! Climate change has got to go!
How are you?
Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Two of those pipelines have to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Climate change has got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Two of those pipelines have to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Climate change has got to go! Hey, hey! Ho, ho! Two of those pipelines have to go!
And Pablo's rage never stops.
That's bullshit. Get off it. Climate devastation will not be solved by corporations. We're oil. Keep your carbon in the soil. No more pipelines, no more oil. Keep your carbon in the soil. No more pipelines, no more oil. Keep your carbon in the soil. No more pipelines, no more oil. Keep your carbon in the soil. Hey, hey, ho, ho. Climate change has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. Sure those pipelines have to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. Climate change has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. Sure those pipelines have to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. Climate change has got to go. Hey, hey, ho, ho. Sure those pipelines have to go. There ain't no power like the power of the people, because the power of the people fight back. Say what? There ain't no power like the power of the people, because the power of the people fight back. There ain't no power like the power of the people, because the power of the people fight back. Say what? When the land we love is under attack, what do we do? When the air we breathe is under attack, what do we do? When the water we drink is under attack, what do we do? When the planet we need is under attack, what do we do? What shall we do? Stand up, fight back! Woo! When the land we love is under attack, what do we do? When the air we breathe is under attack, what do we do? When the water we drink is under attack, what do we do? When the planet we need is under attack, what do we do? What do we do? Woo! That's bullshit. Get off it. Climate. Sorry. That's bullshit. Get off it. Climate devastation will not be solved by corporations. That's bullshit. Get off it. Climate devastation will not be solved by corporations. That's bullshit. Get off it. Climate devastation will not be solved by corporations.
Climate devastation will not be solved by corporations.
No more pipelines, no more oil. Keep your carbon in the soil.
No more pipelines, no more oil. Keep your carbon in the soil.
No more pipelines, no more oil. Keep your carbon in the soil.
No more pipelines, no more oil. Keep your carbon in the soil.
No more pipelines, no more oil. Keep your carbon in the soil. No more pipelines, no more oil. Keep your carbon in the soil. No
why this school stopped doing it. A lot of things that on hold here.
What do we do when our planet's under attack? What do we do? What do we do when our planet is under attack? What do we do? I lead. Enough this way, everybody. Everybody, we're moving our rally right over here. When the land we love is under attack, what do we do? When the air we breathe is under attack, what do we do? When the water we drink is under attack, what do we do? When the planet we need is under attack, what do we do? What do we do? What do we do? Yeah!
Tanse, Ali Nitsikason, Nia Nihio Esquio, Amisquisi Wiskaikan Ochinia, Kaete Maka Vancouver Mekwach Niwigan. Hello, I am Métis Cree and I am from Edmonton. I come from Treaty 6 territory. My family comes from Beaver Lake Cree Nation, Owl River. I'm a student and I'm a worker and I'm a member of Socialist Alternative Youth, and it's great to be back this year. Thank you for braving the rain and the winds to come and join us today. We're here today because we cannot go any further down the path of climate destruction. The lands that we're gathering on today were never vulnerable to oil spills, greenhouse gases, or climate disasters such as floods, fires, and heat waves in such rapid succession. This is the result of a violently imposed, oppressive, colonial, capitalist system that does not belong on Indigenous territories.
Yep.
And so before we go any further today, I will let Cedar George from Tsleil-Waututh Nation speak and to get us started in a good way.
There you go. I gotta put it to my height. How's everybody doing today? It's cold, huh? My name's Cedar George Parker. That's perfect. My name's Cedar George Parker. I'm from the Tsleil-Waututh Nation, Tulalip tribes, and I'm also Apache Yaqui. And yeah, I was just down in Mexico doing some work, and I was down in Seattle recently, Saskatoon recently, and there's one thing in common, you know, it's our environment is getting really, it's getting hurt, but there is hope, and it's time to look at solutions. So I remember we're going through and looking at the salmon up in Wet'suwet'en territory, and the chiefs took us out, and we went to a river and a whole lake. We went to a whole huge lake, and we drank the fresh water. And we started to learn that on the west coast here, the Fraser River used to be one of the biggest rivers for salmon. The Columbia, I believe, was #1. Fraser was #2, and both of them have just declined so much. And you know, we live somewhere with so much biodiversity, right? I remember even when we were kind of broke, right? Like I'm from the res, born and raised. I'm straight up from the res, And I remember going to Western school for the first time, and it was kind of weird because the education system wasn't built upon love like it is in the Longhouse or the Sundance or the fire ceremonies. And I noticed that their education system is based upon capital, not human lives, not the interconnectedness of everything. The word Natsima, one heart, one prayer, one mind. There was no Smanoff, being rich but willing to share. And I was talking to one of the chiefs up in Kakakula territory, and it's the same teaching here. As a leader, what determined your status was how much you gave. So when it came to materialistic things, right, monetary value, it was the poorest were the leaders. The leaders were the poorest because they gave the most when it came to monetary, but they're richest with teachings. Right? And so when we live on this territory, you know, look around you. There's so much life here. We're in a temperate rainforest. There's so much life, and it's worth protecting. You know, we live somewhere where the salmon is a keystone species, that over 200 species rely on the salmon here. Over 200 species. And that's ridiculous, but there's still pipelines going through and around there where they live. And so if there's anything that we can do in these territories, you know, I ask that you guys use your voice, use your gift, or whatever you guys have to speak on their behalf, because the salmon, the orca whales, they can't get up in the legislative building and say, you're destroying my habitat. You can't, you know, they can't do that. And so it's really is up to us to get up and stand up and talk. And whatever you learn here today that impacts your heart, or that, you know, pierces your heart. You know, in our culture, we have something called a witness. You know, the first step to creating change is always getting like-minded people together. It's always, you know, go, whatever you learned today, go to your friends and go to your family and talk to them about the vast biodiversity that we live in Vancouver. You know, because I was talking to someone that was like, they wanted to know about our culture, and I was like, oh, geez. You know, I was like, well, we're taught to love the land. We're legit held, our hands are held, and we're walked through the forest, we're walked through the water to have a reciprocal relationship, to really sit there and Western society might call that dopamine, call it swallowing that good feeling, or they might call it those things, dopamine, natural endorphins. But we call it, when we go on the land, we call it a good feeling. Then we implement that good feeling into our society and how we raise our children. And then so I had to explain that Western society teaches us to love only what we conquer. They don't love the orca whales. Their ecosystem is dying. The J-pod right here is dying. They're gonna go extinct, right? The salmon populations are going down. And you know, we need to start to love what we can't conquer, what is free and beautiful, like the water, right? And they even try to conquer the water, but it destroys everything around it, right? The dams, like in the Snake River down in Idaho, Washington. Right, it's destroying it's helping destroy the habitat of the orca whales, because they only eat salmon. And that's how beautiful and strong our biodiversity is. They develop their own culture based upon the salmon, the orca whales here. So the orca whales here only eat salmon, right? And so that's why it's up to us to protect them. And I'm going to end this with a story. So back home, Daflela, we call ourselves people of the bay. So there's a bay on our reservation down in Seattle, Washington, north of Seattle, Washington. And there's a beautiful bay. And so one time our people were going really hungry. The salmon weren't coming. You know, we had a really bad year. And so we started to pray, right? We started to meditate. What do we do? Someone started praying, and the salmon came. But the seals came and ate them all. And then so we started praying again. We started, you know, talking to Creator. We started talking to the land, you know. We're only going to take what we need. We're only going to take what we need. And then so the orca whale, our relative, our first relative, you know, Natsima, one heart, one prayer, one mind, we're connected. Our relative heard our prayer, and the orca whale came in. And as the orca whales came in, they scared all of the salmon into our bay, and then they went and ate all of the seals. And no, they threw the seals onto the beach, so they would bite their tails and flip them onto the beach for us to you know, kill. And so the moral of that story is they came and saved our lives. They came and protected us, and now it's our turn to speak up for them. It's our turn to stand up for their habitat. It's our turn to stand up for their young, just as we stand up for our young, just as we stand up for our family, just as we love our family. It's time to give that love back to the water, back to this great biodiversity and this beautiful, vast ecosystem that we call beautiful British Columbia. Let's keep it beautiful. all of you guys can do something, and the best thing that you can do is go home and tell the people around you what you learned today. Tell the people that you're worried about the environment. And then when you start from your family, then you go into your friend group. Then your friend group goes into maybe your block, your community turns into your city turns into a province, state, and then that turns into a country. Then we start to develop and create new policies to protect the land. Then we start to look at divestment when it comes to banks. Learn about the divestment from banks that are investing into projects such as the TMX pipeline. 1 million people are going to get sick in 24 hours of a spill, with an 87% chance in the next 50 years of a spill. And that's from our 1,200-page assessment document of the Trans Mountain Pipeline that Tsleil-Waututh Nation did with world-renowned scientists. And so we start to create these policies, we start to educate ourselves, and we start to make big moves. You know what I'm saying? And so, but it always starts with just telling a couple people around you. It starts small, right? It starts with love. That's what, you know? And so when we're in Mexico, we're talking about our same struggles and how we can come together. You know, we're out in Saskatchewan just recently, and we're talking about how we can come together, and it always starts with circles like this. It always starts with people coming together like this with a common interest and a common goal. So go tell your people, go tell them what's up. Welcome to our territory. We welcome you if you abide by our laws, right? And that's our teachings, right? Of protecting the land at all costs, right? You're invited to live on this land if you're down to do that. And so thank you.
Down to my height now. Thank you so much, Cedar. Thank you. I think, you know, when we talk about the relationship to the land, of learning from the host nations is of the utmost importance, because to say that they loved and cared for the land since time immemorial, you know, even that seems like a lacking statement. The understanding that they have of this territory goes far beyond, I think, our understanding even now, because of all the colonization, all the indoctrination we have received living under a capitalist society. But, you know, despite this horrific colonial violence, Indigenous nations have always maintained their connection to the land. To protect culture, language, and a way of life means protecting the land, the air, and the water for the next 7 generations. And that means that we support the Tsleil-Waututh Nation in their fight to stop the Trans Mountain Pipeline from entering the territory, bringing even more crude oil into the Burrard Inlet, where it will inevitably spill. Is already killed, and it's threatening an already endangered marine ecosystem and the sustenance of Indigenous communities along the coast. And this is something we have to be incredibly active in stopping. And so we are here to learn today. So like Cedar said, I want to echo that. What you learned today, please share. Please come and discuss with the number of groups that are here, all fighting to stop climate change. And I'll introduce them in a second. But I really just want to hammer home that, you know, the way we are all beginning and learning to engage with the land, to respect the land, to live in relationship with the land, is ways that no government, TMX, Coastal GasLink, or RBC will ever be able to comprehend. There is no working with these groups. They are there to take what they can get, despite the horrendous effects that it will have on communities. So the work has already started to fight climate change, and we're here today to continue the struggle, respecting and working alongside the host nations of the Musqueam, Squamish, and Tsleil-Waututh peoples. So again, welcome. This is Socialist Alternative Youth's 2nd annual Earth Day event. Socialist Alternative Youth realizes that capitalism is incapable of providing a society where the working class and its allies can have a good quality of life on a healthy planet. Therefore, we work for both reforms today and a mass democratic socialist transformation of society. We have clubs at Simon Fraser University, at Douglas College, at the University of Victoria, and the University of Guelph in Ontario. We are a part of Socialist Alternative Canada. We have branches across the country in Vancouver, in the Fraser River area, which is New West, Burnaby, Surrey. In Western Canada, we have members in Revelstoke, in the Kootenays, in Edmonton, in Calgary, and in Ontario, in Toronto, and the surrounding suburbs. So if you're interested in starting a club at your school, or you want to get involved with our work, please come see us at our table over here and chat with us. We believe that the planet should come before profit. Truly useful long-term climate solutions can only be achieved through struggle. Only a strong and determined movement of the working class, Indigenous communities, youth, and students can be powerful enough to accomplish this. So today we're going to be hearing from a number of folks. Some are students and workers, elected representatives, and members of workers' organizations. So I want to welcome our first speaker today, who is Mackenzie. She is a member of Socialist Alternative Youth and the Fraser River Branch, and she's a student at Douglas College. So please welcome Mackenzie.
Now I'll put it on my height level. Okay. Yeah, thank you everybody for, sorry, I never actually used one of these before. Hello. Many thanks to the people who know how to work this thing. So, just like to say, thanks for the land welcome and opening there. I thought they were both very succinctly well said. Fossil fuel corporations knew over 50 years ago that the continued release of carbon into the atmosphere would harm our planet. What did they do? They hid the research and lobbied governments, continuing business as usual. The use of coal as a fuel source for engines revolutionized industry in the late 18th and early 19th centuries. And even then, people knew about the effects it may or even could have on us. Today, even with the absolute scientific consensus surrounding us, the disastrous environmental effects of burning fossil fuels continues. Why does this happen? It isn't because corporations are evil, though that they may be. Under capitalism, the only motive is profit. Capitalists will search wherever possible to find and grow their profit margins. This is the cause at the heart of the climate crisis. Fossil fuels are simply too profitable for capitalists to abandon. But they also realize that this won't last forever. They use their words, but not much else, to try and keep confidence in their system. Although obviously this will not last forever. Individualist narratives are leaned on by the capitalist class. In this way, they can shift the blame of climate change onto the working class. This is particularly funny when they do more to personally pollute than anyone with their private jets and yachts. Paper straws and driving less are fine, but they obfuscate from the central issue, the massive polluters. Fossil fuel projects are still being expanded. Look no further than the continued construction of the TMX pipeline and the opening of the Willow project in Alaska. Where will all of this oil go once they collect it? Capitalists will never propose ideas that solve anything because it doesn't serve their interests. Solutions can only be found on a system-wide scale. The capitalists in Canada have promised a net zero program. This is one of the boldest scams ever created. They want to continue spewing carbon into the atmosphere, but suck it back up and bury it in the ground using carbon capture technology. Perhaps we should bury these lies instead and dig up the truth. This technology is nowhere near the level needed to be used on such a scale. Storing the carbon itself prevents environmental dangers, especially if it is damaged and released. There is also no plan to address the emissions of countries that will continue to have fossil fuels shipped to them. They don't have the capacity to adopt that technology, even if it was real. These fossil fuels will obfuscate until there's no more time left. We need our own answers. What can be done? First, climate and jobs are not in conflict. Climate struggle is just one aspect of class struggle. We need to connect the transition to a sustainable, green energy economy to the needs of energy workers and the working class generally. Such workers need to be guaranteed decent, livable jobs that provide them and their families with a good standard of living in the sustainable, green, and resource sectors. Generally, we believe many in the working class will also find it agreeable to not have their homes flooded, too. In Germany, unions in the climate movement have come to this understanding. Groups like Fridays for Future understand the need to fight capitalism and connect with workers in the energy industry, encouraging them to strike for better working conditions and for democratic ownership of the production to transit to sustainable green energies. An excellent example of this method is when union workers at the Bausch car plant in Munich struck together with environmentalists against the capitalists who wanted to close the plant. Their plan was to retool the plant to create electric batteries for electric buses and trains. Sorry. When the working class is in charge, the useful building of things, such as in public transit, are demanded and prioritized over profits. There is an important need to connect youth, workers, and Indigenous people to the environmental movement, to build a larger coalition to stop climate change. Most importantly, we need to understand that the whole damn system is rotten to the core. We can never solve crisis within the capitalist framework. What is needed is a socialist solution. And finally, we understand that sometimes it can be easy to feel pessimistic, to simply say that we cannot fight, that we cannot do anything. The truth is that there is so much that we can do. It's not over. Just the simple fact that you're all here today is proof that the fight continues. The energy of the movement clearly exists. It's just a matter of what we do with it. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mackenzie. Yeah, and it's always important to highlight that capitalists always knew this was going to be the results of the exploitation that they're doing. And they continue to rig, they continue to frack, they continue to clear cut forests because they don't suffer the consequences. They don't suffer the consequences of Abbotsford flooding, of Merritt flooding, of Lytton burning to the ground. The toxic chemical spill in East Palestine, Ohio, they don't suffer the consequences of that. They put the trains back on the tracks as soon as they could because they have money to make, despite God knows what long-term effects that community is going to suffer. I would like to now introduce our next speaker, who is Isabel Graham. She is a student activist from New West and also the leader of her school's environmental club. So I want to invite the leader of the Socialist Club. Sorry about that. Come on up, Isabella. Welcome.
So, like she said, can you hear me? Yeah? Sick. Okay. So like Ali said, I'm a student. And obviously as a student, I go to school. And I was first taught about environmentalism at school by a teacher. And it was probably one of the most dreadful, hopeless classes I've ever sat through. The TV was turned on and this teacher put on a 1.5-hour David Attenborough documentary. And if I'm going to be honest, it was probably at best garbage. It was about how the world is in shambles and if we don't change now, we will inevitably destroy our planet. And along with it, our existence here on Earth. In this documentary, there was a lot of talk about how corporations like Nestle are destroying ecosystems in Southeast Asia and West Africa to harvest palm oil. And this is true. Or how major fishing conglomerates are desecrating the population of fish in our oceans, leading to the death of natural habitats like reefs. And this is also true. Or even how major greenhouse gas emissions of multi-billion-dollar industries are melting our polar ice caps, starving and killing local species in Antarctica. And all of these facts are true. But what this documentary that displayed this information failed to realize, and what my teacher failed to realize, is that the solution isn't drastic individual change.
Iceberg lettuce.
The conversation in this class after the documentary was it went in a direction that I didn't think that it would go into. Apparently, according to my teacher, one of the main parts of the solution into dismantling the exploitation of land, resources, and people by multinational corporations is birth rates. According to this teacher, we are going to run out of natural resources soon and we won't have any to sustain us if our global population keeps growing. And Third world countries, like the ones in Africa and South Asia, have some of the highest birth rates in the world. Soon, they are going to lead to death and famine all across the world. But it's okay, because Canada and America and all the other sophisticated European countries have it figured out. Yeah, we don't need to breed children for Western powers to exploit as laborers in oil and mineral mines or textile sweatshops. If only they would follow in our footsteps. On a more serious note, looking back on this class, the rhetoric that was spread was incredibly dangerous and racist and xenophobic. It refuses to acknowledge that the West and the major institutions that come out of it are directly destroying the lives and environments of these countries. These corporations have exploited and raped their land and caused civil violence. The corporations of our country and our allies are the reason for global decimation. Instead of focusing on how we, the people, need to come together to persecute these multinational corporations, we were taught that environmentalism is individual. This teacher told us about how we need everyone to change their lifestyles. The working class, the 98% who are just trying to survive under late-stage capitalism, should be switching to drive electric cars instead of gas, riding their bikes to work, only drinking coffee if it's locally harvested, paying premium on sustainable household products, going vegan, eating a Beyond Meat burger, reposting infographics, going to a rally about saving the ocean funded by the corporate powers who are destroying our environment and have been each and every single day since the Industrial Revolution. According to them, we have to change our individual ways of living in an attempt to try and curb the ecological destruction that corporations have committed for over a century. Like many other teachers at my school, this one was very particular in not sharing his political ideology as to not influence us. But it was fairly obvious that no matter how much this teacher raved about social justice and liberation, in a very self-centered way, might I add, he was most definitely a right-leaning libertarian. And the thing is, green capitalists like this teacher, people who care about the environment but are adamant in maintaining the status quo, refuse to admit that there is any bit of fault in the current system. If we want to see legitimate change in the way society interacts with the environment, we must begin to dismantle our current system and pass down the means of production to our workers. We can no longer attempt to trust our current government and other world leaders in solving the climate crisis when they are being funded by capitalists. How do we expect to take the problem down when the problem has a seat at our table? We've seen how COP26 failed, how old growth trees are still being logged on unceded indigenous land despite the government's adamance on reconciliation, how many pipelines are forcibly being built on indigenous territory. We see the hypocrisy of our government. We see how their pockets are being filled by private organizations, yet most people refuse to do anything because socialism is widely misunderstood. And it's not the fault of anyone. Consciousness has been set after years of neoliberal policy and anti-union actions against the working class. Governments consciously ingrain a fear of socialism or any change to the status quo in order to stop revolt, stop revolution, stop us, the working class, from overthrowing our oppressors, the capitalists. For us to truly progress in solving the climate crisis, we must begin to bring education to the masses, and that starts at schools. It starts with younger generations. For example, at my school, NWSS, we are currently working on our second ever climate conference, where students will participate in workshops and listen to speakers who have alternative solutions to climate change. For example, Ethan from Socialist Alternative will be one of the speakers. We're hoping to change the perspective of some students and open their eyes to looking at political, economic, and in our case, environmental issues through a socialist lens. We hope that at least some students leave the conversation with interest in being involved and in possibly coming to events like this one, which are so vital to our fight in climate justice, because we're showing people that there is another solution if we all come together. And unlike what liberal media is saying, it's not all doom and destruction and a never-ending void of problems that we can't fathom to ever solving ourselves. In reality, it's students, workers, indigenous communities creating solidarity and banding together to solve one evil: capitalism. And it's been done before. So I know that we can one day, and one day we will stop this crisis. And all it's going to take is education, determination, and a strong movement and community. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Isabella. Thank you. Yeah, it's always a good reminder that, yes, please continue to recycle. Maybe ride your bike to work, but those alone, they're not going to do it. They're not going to do it when RBC is the biggest funder of fossil fuel projects in the world, and they have no intent in stopping. It is a systemic change that is going to be necessary to stop the climate crisis that we are facing. I also just want to say one more time, we found a Subaru car key in the lot. If this is yours, please come and get it. I don't want anyone losing it. Yeah. Or you can go home in a Subaru tonight, I don't know. Our next speaker is Susie Ma. Susie Ma is an elected school board trustee with COPE. She was elected in the 2022 municipal elections. And since her election, she has been fighting tooth and nail to stop the cuts and the closures of our community schools. She's here to speak today on the effects of climate change that it has on educators and young people and the future of education itself. So please welcome Susie Ma.
Short person here. Okay, all right. So, good afternoon. I'm so inspired by all of you who braved the weather today to attend this event. We are all here because we believe in the urgency and we are concerned about the impact of climate change. As a COPE school board trustee, I'm here today to talk about how climate change impacts the education system and to talk about some steps schools can take to reverse and stop the killing of our planet. I'm also going to, at the end of my speech, give all of you a little bit of a homework assignment, so listen very carefully. When I was in high school, I would walk to school from the corner of Commercial Drive in 11th Avenue all the way to Britannia Secondary. It would usually take about half an hour, and I remember how enjoyable it was to get some fresh air to and from school. Fast forward to now, and you see so many students being driven to school in every neighborhood. You may have heard in the news lately that the Vancouver School Board is looking at closing some of its smaller schools like annexes. By closing schools, we are going to make it harder for students to get to school because they will have to go further to school. If schools are further away, parents will feel compelled to drive their children to school. More cars on the road means more carbon output. That's why we need to keep our neighborhood schools open, and that is why we, as a COPE school board trustee, I am leading COPE in our No Cuts, No Closures campaign. Closing schools is bad for our planet. A couple of years ago, after much lobbying, the provincial government decided to make transit free for 5 to 12-year-olds. Right now, groups including the Vancouver School Board trustees are lobbying the government to make transit free for 13 to 18-year-olds. Just think, if both elementary and secondary students could access free transit, think of how many cars would be off the road. Not to mention how much money families would save. If we could go one step further and push for free transit for all, think of how much more impact we can have. None of our Vancouver schools have the capacity to withstand extreme weather events. Those old brick buildings are not only seismically unsafe, but they are also ovens in the summer and leak heat in the winter. Although the Vancouver School Board has a climate change policy in place, the district doesn't have the money to install renewable energy systems, insulate more, or install energy efficient ventilation systems. We are not prepared for the kind of increasing number of heat domes that are happening in our part of the world. As a Vancouver School Board trustee, it is critical that we demand from the provincial government to speed up funding the Vancouver School District to find a faster solution to these problems. With what we see about climate change on the news and on social media these days, it's not hard for us to worry about what the future will bring. So how can teachers empower students to help cope with their worries and encourage them to engage in positive actions? I'm going to speak from the point of view of a retired teacher. I taught in the Vancouver school system for 35 years. So what I'm going to say is this. It's important for students to get accurate information about the causes, impacts, and solutions to this global issue. Teachers need to encourage students to talk about their thoughts, fears, and ideas for solutions. Teachers also need to foster critical thinking and problem-solving skills. Finally, students need to hear about the positive examples of individuals, communities, and organizations taking real action to address climate change. I'm going to close by giving you your homework. You are so especially important in being part of the solution. If you have younger siblings in elementary or high school, or even if you have nieces and nephews who are in school, be a mentor to them. Show them through example. Encourage them to participate alongside with you in climate fairs, rallies, and lobbying. Next year, I want to see lots of younger people here, right? That you people are going to bring next year. That's what I would like to see. Get them out to plant gardens and connect with nature. Help them answer their questions by showing them where to find reputable information. Talk to them about local leaders who are making a difference to address climate change. Young people are curious. They are usually more open-minded, not like old people like me. Let's work together to give our younger people the hope they deserve and involve them in actions. With this, they can take back and prevent some of the damage that we have done and continue to do to our planet. So thank you very much, and next year when I come back, I'm going to check to see what the young person quotient is going to be here. All right, thank you very much.
Back up to my height. Thank you so much, Susie. We're actually now going to have something a little bit different. We are going to have some music because this is also a day of celebration. I know it's gray and we're talking about climate change and what seems like a never-ending void of crises, but we do have a lot to celebrate. We have a lot to celebrate on this beautiful territory, and throughout this work that can be very, very hard, we do need some joy in it as well. So I would like to invite Pete Marlowe up, who's going to sing for us. Thank you.
Hi. My name is Pete Marlowe. Gonna do you a song that I made up this morning, but we got to do some kind of sound check. So gonna do a verse of Hank Williams to check that out. Goodbye, Joe, me gotta go, me oh my oh. Me gotta go pull the pirogue down the bayou, oh my Avon, sweetest one, me oh my. Son of a gun, we have big fun on the bayou. Okay, I think that was thumbs up. All right, here's my new thing. It's called The Elements. 6 billion years ago, this world was born. 400 million years later, life first arrived here. We're all descended and connected from that early dawn. And at last in BC's Burgess Shale, the first animals appeared. And though we've been human now this past 1 million years, we're still as bewildered as when the ancients inquired, what's it all made of? And they said, earth, wind, water, and fire. Now I've traveled the land and across the 7 blue seas. And I was there 2 years ago now, towards the ending of June, when the town of Lytton expired after hitting 50 degrees. And now with the oceans warming up like it's always high noon, sending hurricanes across the Atlantic and Pacific typhoons, circling and circling in the widening gyre, 'cause the wind's on the water and the earth is on fire. The British Columbia Federation of Labor refused to join us here for Earth Day, unfortunately. But they don't send their regrets, 'cause they got members paying dues. From mining and from forestry and fossil fuel industries. And though I'm a proud union man, I know that solidarity includes the fish, fowls, and forests. And our dues keep getting higher, 'cause the wind's on the water and the earth is on fire. Here in Vancouver, the world's capital of mining, we're surrounded by forest, mountains, and streams here. But each cloud that I see has got a silver and selenium lining. And I gotta ask you all if there's anything unseemlier than the coal company hiring the next NDP premier. 'Cause as the tech resource executives dance round the funeral pyre, the wind's on the water and the earth is on fire. From the old to the young, I send my apologies. We could have left you a future glowing red, golden, and green, instead of this future of science fiction technology, hoping you'd be contented with that tiny manipulative screen. We should have worked harder for our hopes and your dreams. So I swear by these gray hairs, we'll fight for all that's required. For the wind's on the water and the earth is on fire. I spoke to a businessman. He was in raptures about the path to net zero, and about seeding the earth. And he waxed so eloquent about carbon capture, about subsidizing Volkswagen for $13 billion. And he said it's only the free market that can save the earth if we let it. Well, you might say he's an optimist, but I say he's a liar. For the wind's on the water and his pants are on fire. We got a war in Ukraine. We got rampant inflation. And the heart beholds the world in devastation and dearth. From the root and the branch grow the alien nation. of one from another and each from the earth, of our hearts from the mind and our work from its worth. But in dialectic struggle, form the worlds we desire, from the earth, from the water, from the wind and the fire. They say trust the science, but that wise owl don't give two hoots. I forget that verse. But it ends with, well, I won't trust the poet, I won't trust the science, I'll trust the poets inspired by the wind and the water, the earth and the fire. And the poets say, out there, there's a world to wish. Somewhere under the rainbow are red birds in flight, and they say that Earth has not anything to show more fair than this. For through our five senses shines an immense world of delight, where the flora and fauna and the workers unite with nothing to lose, while the music of the sphere's choir sings in wind and in water, in the earth and fire. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Another round of applause for Pete. Okay, thank you everyone who has stuck around to brave the elements today. I just also wanted to take this time to introduce some of the tents and the organizations that are here joining us today. So we have the COPE tent over here, Coalition of Progressive Electors. So Susie is at that table, and if you want to learn more about getting involved with the No Cuts, No Closures campaign, please go and talk to them. Over here we have the Socialist Alternative tent. We are selling our magazines. They are written and produced by all of us here across so-called Canada. And then the blue tent is Workers' Solidarity Network. And Workers' Solidarity Network is actually our next speaker. And we have Jen speaking for Workers' Solidarity Network. Their Justice Delayed is Justice Denied campaign succeeded in winning $12 million budget increase to the Employment Standards branch. Big round of applause for that. That's something that our members in Victoria also helped out a lot on. So I want to welcome Jen as our next speaker.
My name's Jen. I'm a settler and uninvited visitor from Lekwungen and Wasanich territories. I'm also the Climate and Labor Project Coordinator with the Workers' Solidarity Network, or WSN, which is a workers' rights advocacy organization. And through community organizing and mutual aid, we support workers across the province with grievances like discrimination, harassment, and wage theft. Some of our key demands include at least 10 permanent paid sick days for all, job protection legislation for non-unionized workers, and full and permanent status for all. In our roles, we hear from workers across the province, but especially in retail, hospitality, and food service sectors. These are three areas that we know to be plagued with massive job insecurity, like being low-paying, highly gendered, and largely unprotected, meaning that workers often fulfill part-time positions with routine and normalized experiences of mistreatment that they're expected to tolerate. So the fight for decent work, including fairer treatment, better protections, and safer workplaces, is not just about worker justice. We all know that when doing any type of justice work, we have to forefront the fact that colonial capitalist exploitation of land is a key driver of violence and precarity that continues to harm many communities. So when we fight for worker justice, we need to center racial, gender, class, migrant, disability, and climate justice as well. The project I've been supporting has centered the voices specifically of food service workers around the province, with the goal to better understand how the climate movement and labor movement intersect. And so the picture that I often like to paint to make this intersection come to life is to consider the fast food cooks standing in front of hot grills during heat waves without AC, the food truck workers serving food during smoky wildfire seasons, or the Uber Eats cyclists who are delivering orders around the city during heavy rainfalls and snowstorms. Workers we've heard from have described these conditions as dehumanizing, abusive, and even purgatory. These jobs are sometimes overlooked in climate change dialogue, but these are some of the very same workers that we deemed essential during the worst days of the COVID-19 pandemic lockdowns. During rising temperatures, they're standing in walk-in freezers to cool down. They're purchasing fans out of pocket to bring to work for their comrades. They're receiving inadequate breaks for hydration, sometimes even being refused water bottles at their workstations. And in some cases, we've heard from workers, especially those in outdoor positions, who have fainted on shift from heat stress. These are not unique or one-time accounts. This is a narrative that we've heard echoed by many food service workers and low-wage workers in the province, which is why we need to fight for long-term protective measures and infrastructure to secure the health, safety, and future of all workers and all communities that have been placed in precarious positions, especially during extreme weather events. The fight for better worker protections is ongoing, and we're doing it right now together. But to ensure a healthier planet, we need the jobs that currently exist, like essential food service workers and frontline workers in grocery stores, and the migrant farm workers who ensure food security, and all low-wage workers to be valued and protected. Climate justice is labor justice, and when we build worker power, we'll win both. Thank you.
Thank you so much, and thank you to Jen. Yeah, I think it's always important to remember workers in this struggle. I don't know if we remember the image of the Uber Eats bicyclist during the wildfires, but he's there delivering food, and the sky is just like blacked out with smoke, and it's got this like dystopian orange hue. This is not the future that we want. We want to fight to protect healthy air, healthy lands, healthy waters for the next 7 generations. And so the little one that just brought me this beautiful gift, that's who we're protecting. That is who we are fighting for, and I think we always need to keep that in mind. Let me introduce our next speaker. Our next speaker is Ethan Joseph, who came all the way over from the island today. Ethan is a member of Socialist Alternative Youth and Socialist Alternative Canada, so please welcome Ethan.
Uklama, Ethan Joseph, Histakshikla Yushruthak, Hukura Umiksu Stella George, Hukwa Nuiksu Les Joseph. I'm going to start with one of my favorite Thomas King quotes. The issue has always been land. It will always be land until there isn't a square foot of land left in North America that is controlled by indigenous people. That is because in this capitalist system, land is only a commodity that has value for what you can take from it. When the settlers first arrived, they looked at land and thought we weren't using it properly. They seen sustainability and our traditional ecological knowledge and deemed it irrelevant. Capitalism has brought us to the situation we are in, and yet it blames everyone else for its faults and contradictions. It blames indigenous people for wanting safe and healthy water to drink, food to eat. Then it pits the working class people who have families to feed against us and us against them. The problem isn't us or any worker, but the capitalist system that determines how these industries operate, where they go, and it feeds the markets to make a profit. We shouldn't play into the game and blame each other. Instead, we should look at capitalism. There are safer and sustainable jobs available for everyone. The problem is that they just aren't as profitable for the industries. Even though Canada can say it's committed to net zero, lowering emissions, and battling climate change, we know that's a lie. Look at the Trans Mountain Pipeline expansion, which was bought for $4.5 billion in 2018, and year after year, its estimated costs keep rising from $7.4 billion to $21.4, now to $30.9 billion to finish. And that will continue to rise due to climate change itself, such as catastrophic flooding already impacting construction, or David Eby promising to accelerate action with 100 days of being sworn in. Old growth is still being clear cut. And I think we can all see through their lies, but Indigenous people have been dealing with this for a long time. The government can say they're committed to reconciliation. They can say they recognize our right to self-determination. They can implement UNDRIP, but ultimately, reconciliation or self-determination requires the land that sustains, feeds, provides, and teaches our people. And if that land is destroyed, burned, flooded, and poisoned, then there is no reconciliation, and we are not self-determining peoples because of capitalism. And it is clear, despite the decades of science, the pleas of millions, and the already overwhelming destruction, they've shown that under capitalism, they will burn their way until the end, unless we come together. And if we want a better future, we'll have to work towards it. We'll have to be informed, we'll have to be organized, and we'll have to be one. And we need to come together because of Isak and Hishak Ish Sawak. Isak roughly translates to respect, but more accurately, it is to be observant, to appreciate, and to act accordingly. Hishak Ish Sawak means that we are one, we are connected. All of us here, we are one, and we have to come together in solidarity. And if you want to be informed or organized, and if you want to contribute to a better future, we'll need socialism. The earth will need it. Waikash nas yatapihat with, plus a team thimaksti, kleko chu.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Ethan. So we've arrived at our last speaker of the day, but please do not go anywhere because we have a special treat. We have a band performing after. But before we get to that, our last speaker is Grace Bodie, who came all the way in from Revelstoke for this event and was a key organizer of this event. So here is Grace. Welcome.
Thanks, Ali, and thank you everyone for coming today. We really appreciate it, and yeah, it just shows that there's energy behind this and we can come together and make change. So yeah, climate change is the result of an economic and a political system that will stop at nothing to make a profit. Our entire economic system is based on this, from how we produce food to how we organize housing and transportation. It is all centered around generating profit. Workers deserve decent pay and compensation for their hard work, but the majority of the wealth we create are profits that are kept away from us by the owners and the shareholders of companies. Only the wealthy have the ability to make profits, while average people like yourself and me are forced to earn a wage to feed ourselves and our loved ones. It is why our planet is being destroyed, because our economy cannot and will not consider the health of our planet. Its only motivator is profit. And as Cedar said, the Western system can only love what it conquers. This is the reason governments will align with big business to steal and destroy Indigenous land so they can profit off of logging and oil. This is the reason why treaty rights and the human rights of Indigenous people continue to be ignored. This is why workers are forced to engage in environmentally destructive practices, and it is the reason that our government continues to depend on fossil fuels, and it's the reason the government continues to make weak and empty goals for climate change, even though there are viable alternatives that could be implemented while creating more jobs. They can never do this. It's not they will not, they can never do this because it won't make a profit for those in power. Capitalism is the reason the future of all of us has been put in jeopardy. Capitalism also creates climate change, but it creates conflicts as well between layers of those fighting against it. The working class, and particularly between Indigenous people, environmental activists, and workers. Workers need jobs to put food on the table, and Indigenous nations need to be able to economically support their communities. Capitalism pits these interests against the equally genuine interests of young people and environmentalists who are fighting for the future of this planet, and Indigenous people who want to protect their territories and manage the land in a traditional and an ecological way. But the interests of all these groups are in fact aligned in the fight for a socialist future. A socialist economy is an economy that is not driven by the exploitation of the land for profit, but is an economic system in which production is democratically planned and managed based on human need and the needs of a healthy environment. This is what we must become conscious of, and this is why we say no more. We are here today to reject this rotten capitalist system that the 1% has imposed on us. We don't have to put up with it any longer because it is possible to come together as Indigenous people, youth, workers, and activists to build a mass movement with a socialist program that can overthrow capitalism and kickstart a real democratic transition to a green economy that will protect the land and the people and provide skilled jobs for all. This is what Socialist Alternative Youth is fighting for, and we're asking you to join us in the fight for our future. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Grace. That has brought us to the end of our speakers today. But before we get into the entertainment portion, and again, thank you for braving the elements, I just want to say that we don't want this event to be like a one and done. We don't want you leaving here being like, oh, like, what now? What now? RBC is still investing in fossil fuel projects. They're still bulldozing through sovereign Wet'suwet'en territory. What do we do? And I'm not saying we're going to solve this overnight, but I am saying struggle and movements start at events like this. Please come and talk to the groups that are here and how you can get involved. We need more, like Cedar was saying, we need more like-minded people who are willing to struggle for a change and have no illusions in the status quo as it is, because governments as they are right now are not willing and not capable of providing a safe future free of climate disasters. I want to wrap up by saying events like these, we are a independent working class organization. We are completely funded through the members that you have seen and that you have met today. We take absolutely no corporate donations. We don't apply for grants because we do not want to be beholden to their interests. We don't want them coming back to us saying, oh, no, you can't do that. You can't go too far. You can't say that, because we have the freedom now, as we are fully funded by ourselves, to say what we want and to go up against the systems that are oppressing us. So with that being said, we do have Aiden, who is in the high-vis vest back there. He is walking around, and if anybody has some funds to spare, I know with the cost of living crisis, it is very expensive right now, but we did want to make sure we could pay for the mics, we could pay for the tent today. So if you have anything to spare, please give what you are able to do. And if you haven't already, please check out our tent, gather some of our materials. And if you haven't already, there are blue flyers that are advertising. We have a public meeting coming up this coming Thursday at Harbor Center at 7 p.m. To talk about how to continue to build for the climate movement. Because again, it does not end here. I don't want to come back this next year and be like, oh, like we're in the same spot again. No, I want more groups here. We want more people on our side continuing to build. We want this to be bigger and bigger and bigger. So please, please get involved. And again, thank you for coming. But before you leave, we have the wonderful band Cheap Flavor here. They're gonna get set up behind me. And while they do that, I was kind of struggling on how to describe them. So when I looked them up on Spotify, I think it summed it up really good. They are punky, funky, and a swinging rock and roll band. So if Jed wants to come up and say a few words, welcome Cheap Flavor.
How's everybody doing? That was the most beautiful 50% energy I could ever hear. Let's see 100%. How's everybody doing? Woo! I need another huge round of applause for Socialist Alternative Youth. For Ali and all of the speakers today, thank you everybody. Another round of applause. For Ethan and his incredible words from Victoria. Ooh, the young people are going to save us. I hate to say that it's on them, but the young people are going to save us. As an elder millennial, I feel like I'm no longer a part of that, so I'm struggling with that on my own time. We're at Cheap Flavor. We are going to set up. I'm doing something called vamping right now, which is just wasting a whole lot of time while we're getting ready. I hope y'all stay and chill for a little bit. We are a band that is a huge, massive, huge supporter of Worker Solidarity Network. And right next to Worker Solidarity Network's incredible merchandise and talks about how they support workers, we are also supporting ourselves. Josh over here takes the seeds of hot peppers, puts them in the ground, grows them, makes our own hot sauce and hot salt. That is our merchandise right over there. Talk about worker labor rights and buy some hot sauce if you're able to. We would love you immeasurably for it. I'm going to set up, get some hot sauce, chat with folks, and then with the really loud, annoying rock music starts playing, you'll know to listen. Thank you.
Oh, yeah. Did you access that? I didn't know they were coming. They just, they just came.
That was our first song. Thank you very much. Once again, On the drums, he's pulling the drums forward and pulling himself forward because the power of the man's calves and leg muscles are just going to keep pushing that drum kit more and more. He will be on Graverly Street by the end of the set. All right, everybody, thank you again. We're going to play a few more for you. Hope to rock the area as much as possible. This is on our Spotify if you'd like to check it out. It's a lot of fun. It's called Grown. I hope you enjoy it. In your head, reminding you that you're worthy. For me, it only echoes in the minds of more deserving. Ringing in yourself, begging you to stay afloat. For me, it only resonates through the truth else's throat. Begging for sweetness, but my stomach's always aching. A child of mine, no self-control when the spoils are for the taking. Forget guilt selectively, my apologies may hollow. It's clear these howlings in the conch share gentle wind will not hear. Thanks, that's grown. Ooh, don't forget to hydrate, everybody. And only if you're comfortable, you're always free to come closer a little bit, make it look like a show, throw some elbows, do some dancing. You're welcome. Come on, crowd up, everybody. It's fun. All right, this one's another popular one. It's called Beyond Repair. I hope you like it. Oh, he's stretching. Hey, guys, Elle is here! Elle is here! Rise beyond your years, but these years they're catching up. Rest so long on your laurels, getting up is mighty tough. Just railed the line of unearned glory, get them spoiled beyond repair. I feel I've invented stagnation. Everyone else, they're doing fine. Today is when I try to rise and grind. Maybe that simple life's for me. Good faith, good friend, good food, cheap wine. God invented stagnation. Everyone else, they're doing fine, just fine. Today is quicksand when I try to rise and grind. Maybe that simple love's for me, for fake, good friend, good food, cheap wine. Ooh. Invented stagnation. Everyone else, they're doing fine, just fine. Today is quicksand when I try to rise and grind. Maybe that simple life for me. Good fight, good play, good food, cheap wine. That's it. Thank you, everybody. Doing a quick vibe check. Is everybody still good? We're good. We're good. That's incredible. Once again, put on those calendars. That'll be on April 30th at the Portside Pub. Once again, April 30th at the Portside Pub. We will be playing with Balkan Schmalkin. You ever thought, oh, I really need a full Balkan brass band to go along with this rock band? Well, your prayers are answered. That's April 30th at Portside. Please keep supporting the folks here, and we have a few more for you. John can't be here today. Can I hear in 3 seconds, our bassist John is not here. He's working. He's a working man. Worker Solidarity Network, check him out. Can we say we miss you, John, on 3? 1, 2, 3. We miss you, John. Thank you. Thank you very much for that. This is, yeah. Or another one. Another one. We're going to do a different one. How about we do... Give me your email. Folsom, we can try that one. Let's do that, yeah. Right? Yeah, sure. This is a political one if you listen close. It is a fun one. Loudmouth to carry around my Louisville. Best believe I learned a lesson from Charlottesville. Yes, I did! Well, they're coming for the ones with the boot already on their neck. You ain't too careful, baby, you might be next. Yes, you might! Why don't we boogie, Josh? Help us and the state don't care, so we're the only ones we got. But there's more of us than there are of them, so when they step up, they're gonna get dropped. Let's go! Boogie one more time. starving and a belly full of liquor. These hands can either shield or fight. But when fast gets up, these fast in the street. This throwing brick just might like this one. Oh, one more thing to say. Saying, hey, hey, what do I say? Join the one big union today. I'm saying, hey, hey, what do I do? Nazi scum, we're gonna bury you. Hey, hey, what do I say? Join the one big union today. I'm saying, hey, hey, what do we do? Nazi scum, we're gonna bury you like this. We will outlive them. We will outlive them. We will outlive them. We will outlive them. We will. That one was an angry one. This one's a little more hopeful. I'm sorry for playing this at a labor meeting, but sorry, we got to. When the union's inspiration through the workers' blood shall run, there will be no power greater anywhere beneath the sun. But what force on earth is weaker than the meager strength of one? For the union makes us strong. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. The union makes us strong. What all we have in common with the greedy parasite who would lash us into serfdom, he would crush us with his might. What else we have to do but to organize and fight? For the union makes us strong. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. For the union makes us strong. In our hands there lays the power, greater than their hoarded gold, greater than the might of atoms, magnified 1,000-fold. We can bring to birth a new world through the ashes of the old. When the union makes us strong. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. Solidarity forever. When the union makes us strong. Thank you. Gotta adjust the hair. Thank you, Carlos and Doug. Good to see you. We have a few more for you. Would that be tolerated and all right? This is a new one about a bit of a discontentment with the boys in blue. You'll hear it. got the shell shock shakes and the Jimmy legs. I ain't gonna settle down. This country's full of well-armed children. Some came to this town. The pale man fails, fresh made hand, whole blood spray everywhere. You'd rather lose a couple fingers than give a buck to spare. Moves like hands numb, knees caving in. I'm damn small when hot lead flying, but oh, yeah, ain't no drown. And I ain't gonna get shot lying down. Officer said, tell me, son, what happened, what you see? This badge meant once for every grave he filled with a baby. This blood hunt just want me to point him on the trail to kill. No justice would confirm my words, so my lips staying still. Moves like hands numb, knees caving in. I'm damn small when hot lead's flying, but oh, yeah, ain't no place to drown. And I ain't gonna get shot lying down. Smoking my throat and boot on my neck. Hungry enough to eat my bound serve check. Just where the Fraser River used to run. Self-care failed, I'ma hurt someone. Smoking my throat and boot on my neck. Hungry enough to eat my bound serve check. Just where the Fraser River used to run. Self-care failed, I'ma hurt someone. If it's dry as a bone and the pig can't buy no rain. If it's dry as a bone and the pig can't buy no rain. Dry as a bone and the pig can't buy no rain. Pig can't buy no rain. Pig can't buy no rain. Hands numb, knees caving in. I'm damn small when hot lead's flying. Oh, it ain't no place to drown. And I ain't gonna get shot lying down. Thank you. Ashante, Ashante, once more we are cheap flavor. I'd say we're even cheaper flavor because John isn't here. Once again, can we say, we miss you, John? He's busy working on the docks, God bless him. Woo! We have a few more for you. Once again, cheap flavor selling our homemade hot sauce and hot salt right over there for the cheap price of $10 or $5. Free stickers for Instagram and Spotify follows. You'll find us on every website they'll allow us on. What are you feeling for the next song, sir? We might as well. We can't do sing. We can do, okay. We can't do sing. This is what's called a democratic agreement with bandmates. Let's do that. Yeah. This one is another bit of a political undertone to it if you listen carefully. It's to a Bo Diddley beat, and I hope you like it. Yeah. I was there on the street, trembling on her feet when a warrior caught the sight. If you look her in the eyes, drown in people's eyes dark like a moonless night. She just a tear gas can straight back to the piggy's name. This girl ain't afraid, no bad. Give me the courage I needed. Now I'm standing undefeated, pushing through that flashbang light. She said, oh, she said, she's so smart, she said. Oh, cause she's my black block baby. That's my black block baby. My black block baby. My black block baby. She don't ever hide, she just standing by, babe. Oh, it's true. You need final fight to defend your rights, babe. Yes, you do. Nothing ever changed without growing things up. I ain't scared cause freedom is yours to lose. She said you ain't no fighter, but you look much lighter. Get behind me if you choose. This boy's 6'3", I'm 250. Better put this thick to use. She said, don't even bother, I'ma be like water, it's about goddamn time we move. She said, oh, she said, she's so smart cause she said, oh, cause she's that's my black block baby. My black block baby. She's my black block baby. My black block baby. You need final fight to defend your rights, babe. Oh, it's true. Nothing ever changed without growing pains, babe. No, it don't. You need final fight to defend your rights, babe. No, no, pass. One more time. That's my black block, baby. My black block, baby.